Hey everyone, my name is Paul Vojchehoske and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to discuss a fair housing concept called Furthering Fair Housing. This isn't a new concept. It's actually the genesis of Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing is the actual name of it. Say that 3 times. Actually, the genesis of it is the 1968 Federal Fair Housing Act. Now, since 1968, the federal government really never did anything. They never really wrote any regulations, so no one did anything with it. However, the Obama administration started to put some regulations in place. The Trump administration shredded the entire program, and the Biden administration is moving full force with implementation. Now, what do you have to know about affirmatively furthering fair housing? Well, what it requires local governments to do is to put ordinances in place, put programs in place, provide funding, those type of things, grants, all of that, to further the affordability of housing, particularly for those minority groups that typically make up the low-income side of the house. All right? They are moving forward with it aggressively. Kansas City is the latest major city to start implementing these programs. I actually been barking up a tree about this for several years now because of the potential impact it's going to have on the real estate sales side of things. And everybody just kind of, I guess they thought I was a conspirator, but it's all coming to pass now. This comes out of Kansas City, Missouri. There's an article here I want to talk about to illustrate what's happening here. And this is a big deal. This article was written by David Medina. It says organizers with the Kansas City Tenants, which is a citywide tenant union, packed the City Hall in Kansas City on Thursday, urging city leaders not to sign off on a new housing ordinance. That's interesting because typically you see these type of groups show up at these city council meetings in favor of these type of ordinances. But there's a reason why they weren't, and I will tell you it's pretty valid. Despite those objections, the Kansas City, Missouri City Council passed the ordinance by a 9-4 margin, voting amid a 3-minute disruption as Kansas City tenant members chanted their opposition to the measure, and several tenants several members of the group were arrested. This is the crux of the ordinance here. The ordinance requires housing developers to provide at least 20% of total residential units for affordable housing. It also requires the units set aside for affordable housing be at least a minimum of a 1-bedroom unit or the same size as at least 25% of the units that will be built on the project site. The definition of affordable housing will be calculated by the median family income in Kansas City, Missouri. So why are these tenant unions all upset? Well, here's the problem. Well, first of all, let's back up. Let me illustrate in layman's terms what this means. So let's say a developer is going to develop a piece of raw land and they're going to build 100 single-family homes. Under this proposed ordinance, any new development in Kansas City is going to require 20% of the total number of lots that are going to be developed to be set aside for affordable housing. So if the developer is going to develop a 100-unit community, then 20 units or 20 lots out of the 100 must be set aside for affordable housing. So let's say this developer is going to build 3- and 4-bedroom houses and the average price is $750,000. Well, the developer is going, those 20 units that are set aside, they're going to have to build. If 25% or more of that subdivision is 3- or 4-bedroom houses, then that means that the 20 units or the 20 parcels set aside must also contain, or the developer must build 3- and 4-bedroom single-family homes. Now, if there isn't a 25% threshold that's been met, then the developer can say, all right, then I'm just going to build all 1-bedroom. All right. So what it does is it requires a builder that's going to come in and say, all these homes are going to, out of the 100, they're going to be 3- and 4-bedroom only. Then that's what the 20 lots have to be. Now, here's part 2 of the requirement. Of those 20 that were set aside that the developer is going to build those 3 and 4 bedroom homes, the price must be equal to what a family median income could afford. So let me give you an example. The developer on those 20 lots are going to build 3 and 4 bedroom homes that's going to cost probably $300,000 or $400,000. Now, the open market, they're going to sell it for $750,000. However, let's say that the median family income in Kansas City is $50,000, which means based on that income, they can only afford a $120,000 mortgage. That means that those 20 lots must be sold for $120,000, even though it's going to cost the developer $400,000 to build them. Just at first glance, you're going, okay, the developer's losing money, and they are. A lot of money. But make no mistake about it, a lot of incentives comes along with these. For example, that developer is going to get TIF money. They're going to get tax credits. They're going to get all kinds of grants and funding under the guise of affordable housing to overcome the difference between the cost and the price in which they got to sell it. That's one of the dirty little secrets that are never talked about in these cases. But why are the tenant unions so upset? Well, here's the reason why. This is kind of where the corruption side of it starts. It was the developer and the city as their partner that established their own standard for what was the median family income in Kansas City. They used their own numbers that they picked themselves. They didn't use government numbers. They created their own median family income, which was different than what the federal government's average median family income is for the Kansas City area. The developer in the city of Kansas City said the average income is higher than what the federal government was saying, substantially higher. So it allows the developer to collect all of these grants, TIF monies and tax credits and everything else to say I'm building affordable housing, and they're getting all that benefit, but at the same time, they're not truly selling it for what a real family income average is. They're being able to sell it at a rate using the family average family income based on the data that they created. Now, obviously, this led to some allegations that the city council and the mayor was in with the developer and everybody. You know the game plan here. I think they got a legitimate bitch here because there is a difference between what the federal government says the average median family income is and what the developer in the city said. So I think they have because remember, the developer isn't doing this out of the kindness of their heart. They're not going to do it if they lose money. They are getting tax increment financing. They're getting tax credits. They're getting grants. They're getting all kinds of incentives from different organizations and government entities to build these. And then they're going to go ahead and still make, at least, I guarantee you, they're going to at least break even on those units. But remember, they're set aside for low-income family. So that is what affirmative fair housing is turning into. And this particular story illustrates what's happening across the United States where local governments are implementing these types of ordinances. The concept is great. I don't disagree with it. But every time a good thing gets passed, it ends up in corruption. And I think we're seeing it here. All right, I thought you'd be interested in this article. I'll see you all in the next video.